Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the all-new Ford Ranger Raptor and whether I should add this to the vehicle fleet. This is a series where I talk about different vehicles I'm looking to potentially purchase and add to our little Ben Hardy off-roader fleet. Before we get in the video though, I do want to mention if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into the video. So I was filming the other videos in this series over in the living room, but I got bored of the living room. So now we're out in the garage, I guess, to kind of mix things up a little bit. But let's talk about the Ford Ranger Raptor. So first off, this is going to be the most capable Ford Ranger of all time. And the specs that I've heard so far sound pretty cool. It sounds like it's going to have front and rear lockers. It's going to have live valve Fox shocks, the 2.5 in or 2.5 series shocks that you can also now get on the Bronco Wild Track. It's going to have coil suspension in the back end, just like the new Ford F-150 Raptor. It's going to have big, beefy off-road tires, 33s is what it sounds like. And so it's basically going to be, you know, just a mini Raptor, hence the Ranger Raptor name. And it's going to have the 2.7 liter V6, so it's going to have around 400 horsepower. Torque is probably going to be about the same. And so, again, on paper, this truck sounds just absolutely amazing and tons of fun from an on-road and off-road perspective, because it'll probably still have a solid rear axle and then it'll have independent front suspension. So it'll actually probably ride pretty well on road, and then off-road, right, it'll be able to articulate enough that it'll handle quite a bit, at least all the stuff that you throw at it. And so, again, from like the off-road enthusiast perspective, the off-road enthusiast in me at least, it sounds like a really cool vehicle to go for. And it would actually make sense to add something like that to the off-roader fleet, right? Because right now I have the Ram TRX, which is massive. I have the Ford Raptor, which is massive. And then I have the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. Now the Wrangler Rubicon 392 is not massive, but it's not really an in-between vehicle, because the F-150 Raptor and the TRX are great at high-speed stuff. They can crawl amazingly well, but they're big, and so they don't fit in a lot of places. Now the Jeep can fit into a lot of places, but it's not great at high-speed stuff because it has solid front and rear axles, and the shocks are, well, complete garbage. Jeep should have spent a little bit more time developing the shocks for the Extreme Recon package instead of just throwing on the Mopar shocks. And yeah, we're going to talk about that more in video series with that vehicle. But anyways, the Ranger Raptor would slot nicely in between because it's similar in size to the Jeep Wrangler. Now it's, you know, probably going to be a little bit longer and a little bit wider, right? But similar enough in size. Has front and rear lockers just like the Wrangler. It doesn't have a solid front axle, so it's not going to be as good at crawling, and also doesn't have a sway bar disconnect, so it's not going to be as good at crawling because of that as well. But again, smaller size, and again, it has those Fox shocks, the coil suspension, and independent front suspension, so it'll be able to do high-speed stuff as well. So the point that I'm trying to make is, again, it'd be a pretty good in-between vehicle for the garage. Now, things going against the Ranger Raptor. First off, I don't know when it's going to be available. Ford has said that they're going to make this available in the US, but it's not available yet. I don't know when we're going to be able to order it. I mean, we don't even have the new body style Ranger in general over here in the US, let alone the Ranger Raptor. So that's the first thing going against it, is I don't know when I would actually be able to even order this truck. Now, on top of the time frame, I don't know what the price of this truck is going to be like, and it might be more expensive than what I want to spend on a little pickup truck. So here's what I'd probably guess what the price is going to be. So if you look at the current Ranger lineup, the Ranger Tremor fully loaded is just under $50,000. Now that's before Ford spends money on a full body redesign and then obviously gives it the Raptor kit. And so the Tremor is, you know, quite a bit less. So I think, you know, full body redesign is probably going to add a little bit in terms of the price of the Ranger. So like a Tremor for the new body style probably is going to cost in like the low 50s. And then you add the Raptor kit onto it. It's probably gonna be like a $60,000 mid-size truck, which is similar in price to like a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon actually. So it's not like it's way more expensive than other mid-size trucks. But again, I'm not sure if I want to go that route from an expenditure perspective. So that is definitely something that I'm considering. And then from a family vehicle perspective, it's got a truck bed, so that's super practical. And, you know, if I get the Ranger, I don't think the Ranger Raptor will come in anything other than, you know, the full four doors, then I could fit, you know, a car seat back there, and it could be a pretty practical vehicle. And since it's a Ranger and it's not a TRX or a Raptor, which is, you know, full-size trucks which are pretty high off the ground, it's something that will probably be pretty easy to get in. And if it's not super easy, I could probably find aftermarket power side steps to put on the truck to make it so that access is a little bit easier. So I think that it could be pretty good from that perspective as well. And then from a content perspective, I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to see content on it. I've talked to a lot of other, automotive influencers, and nobody's looking at it. And so I think that I could have like a little niche with the Ranger Raptor. It seems like there's some people over in like Australia and potentially some people over in Europe that are going to be purchasing the Ranger Raptor. I'm actually not sure if they're releasing it in Europe, but I've just heard some things. But the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't seem like US influencers are particularly interested in the truck, but it seems like people overseas are very interested in the truck. So I don't know. Maybe it'd help me get a new audience. So there's definitely that going for the truck. And I guess, compared to the other vehicles I've looked at, as part of the series, it is, even though it's expensive for what it is not as expensive as other options, right? So I definitely think that's a big thing going for it. And you know what, frankly, with gas prices being as high as they are, I'm sure that it'll get better gas mileage than the TRX and the Raptor and the Wrangler combined. Not just kidding, it's not gonna be that good, but I'm sure the gas mileage will probably be like, I don't know, high teens, whereas in the TRX I'm getting like 13, 14 miles per gallon. So if I get like 17 or 18, it's not a huge difference, but you know what? Every mile per gallon counts, right? And so overall, I think it's a really cool truck. And like I said, there's a lot of pros and cons to it. Now, within this little thing that I've talked about, there are several vehicles that are in a similar segment to the Ranger Raptor that I'd like to talk about before I fully cap things off in this video. So first off, I've talked about, potentially getting the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon with the EcoDiesel powertrain, completely different vehicle, right? That's more of like your rock crawling truck. And so that is something that I want you guys to kind of like take into consideration, right? Do you think that I should go more into like the rock crawling side of things, the slow speed crawling, or, Ranger Raptor, which is more of the high speed stuff? And then the other thing I talked about was the new Bronco getting a Badlands and basically, putting bigger tires on it and then giving it Fox shock so that it could handle high-speed stuff better. And frankly, the new Ranger Raptor and the Bronco are going to be built on the same platform, so there's a lot of carryover between both of those vehicles. And so, I could basically make the Bronco Badlands as good as the Ranger Raptor. And then on top of that, obviously, there's the Bronco Raptor, which don't know if I'll ever be able to get one, but if I could get one, that one would definitely be, I think, worth getting over the Ranger Raptor. But again, think about that comparison as well. I'm trying to think. Land Rover Defender, that's another one. That one's not really high speed, but again, that's kind of more on the crawling side. But I'm just trying to think of the vehicles that I'm looking at that are similar in size to the Ranger Raptor with this. And then also somewhat similar in price, because you can actually get a Defender pretty, not super decked out, but pretty good from an off-road perspective for like $60,000, $70,000, which I think that's, the Ranger Raptor is going to be in that $60,000 range, so it's pretty similar in price. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I've looked at that seems to be within that realm. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about with me getting a Ranger Raptor, if you think that's a good route to go, or if you think that that is not really something that I should be considering. It's, if you think it's just a complete waste of time. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see all of you in the next video.